Welcome to our webinar entitled Report and Qualified Loans Exempt from Documentary Stamp Tax under the Bayanihan Act. I am Atty. Arnold A. Apdua, and I will be glad to share my knowledge and experience regarding taxation to our viewers today. But before we proceed with the topic, I would like you to point your camera to the QR code. You can send questions, clarifications, or comments regarding our topic through the contact details that you got. You can also send your requests for any tax topic you want me to discuss. So, let us now proceed. If you can recall, in 2020, our government passed the Bayanihan to Heal as One Act, also known as the Bayanihan Act, to help our citizens cope up with the effects of COVID-19 pandemic, including actually relaxing the rules on payment of loans and even exempting the extended and restructured loans from documentary stamp tax or DST. We know naman that there are a lot of individuals na nawalan ng trabaho and maraming businesses ang nagsara. So maraming borrowers na may existing loans or utang sa mga financial institutions who were not able to pay their loans on time dahil sa COVID-19. And to implement the Bayanihan Act provisions, the BIR has issued several policies regarding the transactions that are exempt from tax. And this year, the BIR issued Revenue Memorandum Circular No. 22-2021. It discussed the Reportorial Requirements on the exemption from documentary stamp tax relief for qualified loans pursuant to the Revenue Regulations No. 24-2020. To give you an overview of Revenue Regulations No. 24-2020, it actually implemented the exemption from documentary stamp tax sa mga loans na na-extend or na-restructure na mga financial institutions that fell due on or before December 31, 2020. Ibig sabihin, generally, walang DST na i-impose kapag nag-restructure or nag-extend yung borrowers na mga loans nila with the financial institutions on or before December 31, 2020. And how much ba ang documentary stamp tax on those extended and restructured loans? According to Section 179 of the Tax Code, as amended by the Train Law, the DST due on all debt instruments or, for example, promissory note is actually 1 peso and 50 centavos on each 200 pesos or fractional part thereof of the issue price of any such debt instrument. But the revenue regulation also provides that interbank loans and bank borrowings shall remain subject to DST under Sections 179, 195, and 198 of the National Internal Revenue Code. The BIR also issued Revenue Memorandum Circular No. 36-2020, which also clarified the definition and coverage of Revenue Regulations No. 24-2020 as to credit restructuring and credit extension. Hindi lahat ng credit extensions are exempt from documentary stamp tax. According to Revenue Memorandum Circular No. 36-2020, it provides that yung pre-existing loans that fall due during the ECQ period where, take note, the interest is paid but the principal is rolled over or renewed as a new loan principal in accordance with this is what's really important, a pre-agreed rollover arrangement and collateral documentation thereof prior to the COVID-19 situation shall remain subject to DST. Ibig sabihin, may pre-agreed rollover arrangement na. Regardless of what will happen, the loan or the principal amount will be rolled over. But it also included a clarification that fresh loan availments, top-up, new loan drawdowns during the ECQ period are still subject to documentary stamp tax. This clearly means na what is being exempt from DST is yung mga old loans and existing loans during the quarantine period and hindi yung mga fresh loans, additional loan availments. And who are those institutions na covered ng rules on exemption on DST? These are the following institutions. First is banks. Second is quasi-banks. Third is financing companies. Fourth is lending companies. Next is real estate developers. Next is insurance companies providing life insurance policies. We also have pre-need companies and entities providing in-house financing for goods and properties purchased. We also have asset and liabilities management companies, other financial institutions, public and private. We also have the Government Service Insurance System or the GSIS, the Social Security System or the SSS, and the Home Development Mutual Fund. Take note, even pawn shops and those doing microlending are covered by this policy. And what should these covered institutions do to comply with the rules? They have to submit in hard and soft copy a summary of listing of all pre-existing loans, pledges, and other instruments which were granted extension of payment and or maturity periods. Here is a format given by the BIR. You can see that you have to indicate the borrower, type of instrument, date of loan agreement, document reference, due date indicating the original and extended dates, the amount of loan or pledge, and you have to indicate also the amount of DST exemption. After you accomplish the required documents, you have to submit it to the BIR, where the taxpayer is registered within 60 days from December 31, 2020, or in short, on March 31, 2021. The taxpayer also has to remember that this should be made under oath as to the completeness, truth, and accuracy thereof, and it will be signed by a duly authorized representative or officer of the taxpayer. Ibig sabihin, this has to be notarized before submitting to the BIR. Also remember, the BIR may also subject this to audit or verification, whether the summary list pertains to loans only. However, kapag hindi nag-submit yung covered institutions nung listing, the BIR upon notice and demand, meaning there should be proper assessment through a valid LOA, the covered institutions may be assessed of deficiency documentary stamp tax on the extended and restructured loans, including the administrative penalties, such as surcharge, interest, and possible compromise penalty. Remember that for exemptions granted by law, it is strictly construed against the taxpayer. So, ibig sabihin, the burden of compliance and proof is on the taxpayer availing the tax exemption, because tax exemption will always have an impact on the BIR's collection of taxes for the year. So that covers our discussion about the report on exempt documentary stamp tax for qualified loans. I hope you learned from our discussion. If you have further questions or clarifications, you can contact us. Thank you very much. This is Attorney Arnold A. Apdua, CPA. I hope to see you in our next video. Keep safe and God bless.